I didn't say good morning in the beginning, and I should have, so good morning.
Good morning.
And I trust that everyone is having a good day, considering the weather, and that you're going to share that with me while I'm here. So the song that I sang serves as an appetizer for today's topic, which is entitled Stoke the Fire. It speaks to rekindling the passion in our lives, the joy, that which fuels our purpose and mission, so that we can fulfill our divine appointing, which is to shine our light, share our light in the world. Now, I chose this topic, or maybe it chose me, because it has profound meaning for me, and I think it may strike a chord with many of you as well. At different times in my life, I experienced being passionless, a waning of joy, a waning of excitement and enthusiasm. It concerns me. And I asked myself, what's going on? I mean, what's happening to me? Is this a phase or is it something more serious? What do I do about it? What can I do about it? And simply put, where is my joy? So where is my joy? Has it been misplaced or is it merely hidden? Has it taken on a different form so that it cannot be detected? Has it dried up for want of expression and scattered like dust in the wind? Or has it taken leave because it feels unwelcome? Where is my joy? Is it wandering in the darkness, searching for the light? Is it wrapped against the cold, waiting for the spring? Is it consumed in the silence that captures not the slightest sound? Or is it gasping for air, barely able to take another breath? Where is my joy? With its beauty, its laughter, its gentle touch, where does it reside if not in my heart, coursing through my veins, gathering unto me every element that makes it live? Where is my joy? Where is my voice? Where is my life? Where is the music that makes me want to sing and dance? I have learned that I have to push through. So I found myself in crisis mode. And in the midst of this personal crisis, I agreed to be today's speaker. Now you may be asking yourself, as did I, what was I thinking? No matter, settling all of that personal stuff aside, I had to come up with something to speak about, and I didn't have a clue. Different topics were drifting in and out of my mind, but nothing stuck. Nothing sparked. Until one day, as I sat in meditation, I was hit with a duh moment. To explore what it takes to reconnect with the joy that is fueled by a divine fire when it seems to be missing. And the words that came to me were, stoke the fire. So I sat with it for a while. I mean, that's not a phrase that I use frequently. In fact, it's between rare and not at all. But it wasn't foreign to me, stoke the fire. I know how to start a fire in my fireplace, what to do when the fire is starting to go out. But what am I to do to rekindle my spiritual fire and bring joy back into my life? So I set out to find a song about fire, because that's my standard go-to. Very often, music and lyrics, especially lyrics, provide me with answers and inspiration. And I came across a song entitled, Start a Fire. It just got me going. I listened to that song many, many times because it started to stir something in me. I've tweaked it a little bit, and this is how the beginning of it goes. Start a fire in my soul, fan the flame and make it grow, so there's no doubt or denying. Let it burn so brightly that everyone around can see the divine Start a fire in me. It was a very potent reminder that there is a fire in my soul. It really is in there. But it needs to be fanned so it can grow and be seen and experienced by everyone with whom I come in contact. And that's why I'm here. I mean, not why I'm here today in this sanctuary, but here in this life, on this planet, at this particular time. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I am on a type of a merry-go-round, a spiritual merry-go-round, similar to the spiral that goes up and up and up, except in my case, right now, well, at least when I started this, it didn't seem to be spiraling up, just staying on the same level. And I asked myself, am I going through this again? So after stewing in my time of questioning and with a little bit of self-pity, I take a deep breath, stand myself up, and start on this next spiraling journey. So what does fire mean to us? Okay, so I have this talk, and it appears that I'm supposed to be learning something as a result. So I breathe and surrender to the process. The next thing I did was find that song. I was to pose the question, why fire? What is our fascination with fire? That led me to look at the qualities, attributes, and symbolism of fire that surround us, the historical as well as the current day. First, in the material world, fire gives us light, heat, and protection. We use it to cook our food so that it's both edible and palatable. I mean, fire is used for making tools and softening and manipulating hard materials such as metal and stone. According to the ancients, fire is one of the 4 major elements, the other 3 being water, air, and earth. And it seems that we are exposed to them in that very order. Water first, air second, earth third, and fire last. I mean, consider that when we are in utero, we're surrounded by water. So that's the first element. Then we're born, and we take in our first breath, air, the second element. Next, we're exposed to this planet, earth, the third element, and finally, we take on this life journey in our respective cultures and learn about fire in the form of light, heat, protection, and so forth, as I mentioned earlier. Fire appears to be the last of the 4 elements with which we come in contact, at least on the physical plane. But let's approach it from another perspective. Spiritually, in that context, fire is symbolic of the spark of life. It is the first element. It identifies and defines who we are. It has no race, sex, sexual orientation, facial assemblage, height, or weight component. It has no defined sense of taste, touch, smell, sight, or hearing. But what it does have is a unique divine mission and purpose for each individual. Next, I checked into the symbolism of fire as presented in astrology. There are 3 fire signs, and they express the attributes of enthusiasm, creativity, courage, self-sufficiency, spontaneity, and a zest or excitement for life. It sounded so wonderful, I was thinking of changing my birthday. So that I could be a fire sign. Turns out I'm not. Color is also a symbolism of fire. I mean, who doesn't appreciate the color red with fire? Who doesn't associate the color red with fire and passion and excitement? But if you look at the physical fire closely, you will see that it also contains blue, orange, yellow, green, and white. All of these have their spiritual significance, with white considered the most spiritual of all. The white fire is the hottest. This is the fire that burns off impurities, such as in removing the dross, an unwanted, impure substance from gold and silver, to expose the purity of the precious metal. And that's why I chose to wear white today. I didn't have a white skirt, so you just have to go with what's on the top. That's part of my spiritual lesson. So what about mythology? A distillation of Greek, Latin, and Chinese mythology show that fire is personified as mighty, powerful, truly confident, and capable of remarkable accomplishments with the light of wisdom and purity, and able to push back the darkness of chaos and ignorance. And that's a tall order. And out of these myths come stories of the mythical dragon, to which is attributed all of the qualities of fire, as well as the strength to support the feats of the hero archetype. Mostly we hear of the hero slaying the dragon, but if you can, consider that in doing so, the hero or heroine is spiritually taming the fire, bringing it into spiritual alignment so that it is neither hidden or closed off, nor is it raging out of control. Now, since I started this particular journey, which I refer to as my personal fire walk, dragons have become quite significant in my life. Now, they're neither male nor female, all-inclusive, which is great. They can fly better than flying like an eagle. And their fire nature is both constructive and destructive, which aligns with the life cycle of building up and breaking down that is essential to the process of transformation. Personally, I aspire to develop my dragon nature. Now, right now, I'm a little dragon. I'll just keep this. So, I'm a little dragon, still learning how to harness my power, but I have a goal. I want to become a big dragon. So watch out. I'm going to tell you that I bought one. Actually, I bought a medium-sized one. And, putting together this talk, and I'm trying to think, okay, how am I going to finish this talk? And I walk into a gas station store, and there was that big dragon. I mean, it scared the life out of me. There are different theological references that describe our inner fire as the gift of God, stating that it must be stirred up and rekindled. It must be fanned into a flame and kept burning. And what we do with this inner fire is seen as the key to the power of God working through us. The idea of a divine spark, most common in Gnosticism, but also present in most Western mystical traditions such as Kabbalah and Sufism, explains that each human being contains within himself or herself a portion of God. Or in other terms, that our soul is at least partially created in the image of God. In these theologies, the purpose of life is to enable the divine spark to be released from its captivity in matter. Matter is our physical form. And we have to reestablish its connection with, or simply return to God, which is perceived as being the source of the divine light. Christ is seen as an avatar of the light, which has taken human form in order to lead humanity back to the light. So I want to interject here that every characteristic and attribute of anything, and I do mean anything, and especially fire, since that's what's being spoken of, can be applied both usefully and non-usefully, skillfully and unskillfully. But for today, I shall focus mostly on the useful and skillful characteristics, attributes, and applications, and everything about fire. So what happens when fire starts to fade? What are the signs? So I'm claiming on behalf of us all that we know that there is a fire in our hearts, in our souls. We know that when the flame within is burning bright, we feel joyful. It's a wonderful feeling. And for a time, we are as happy and bright and enthusiastic and excited as we can be. Sometimes it may even feel like it's too much, and we welcome a calming effect. But we have to be careful. There is a difference between being calm and being dispirited. That can be a result of the fire being confined, unable to breathe, being dissipated, because it's competing with so many of our other thoughts and beliefs and activities and influences. Somewhere in the busyness of our lives, the fire is starting to fade. Perhaps there's a loss of clarity of purpose, if there ever was one. We may have stopped seeking to connect with that inner fire. Perhaps our core values have become tainted with doubts, so that confusion can set in. Our spiritual fire is being choked out, but we don't usually notice it in the beginning. It's kind of a stealth process. So as an example, when the fire in your fireplace is giving off a glow from just beneath those burned out embers and a layer of ash, it can be enticing and mesmerizing. We may want it to stay just that way. But a fire that is not fed will go out. That includes our inner fire. When we are not actively keeping our inner fire fed while we are distracted from keeping it alive, our fire is fading. We lose a little here, a little there, and we convince ourselves that we're still basking in its glow, that nothing has changed, really. But our light, our fire is fading ever so slowly. We get comfortable with it. We get used to it. We're losing touch. Our mind adapts to this change as we convince ourselves that the dimmed light is sufficient, that the diminished passion is enough. In fact, it's all that we should expect in the midst of everything that's going on in our lives, right? By the time we finally reach a critical level of discomfort, taking notice of the loss of joy and just how empty we've become, our inner fire has lost a lot of its power. But Spirit allows us to stay connected, if only vaguely, with a sense that something is missing, so that we can take steps to awaken from autopilot living. We start searching for our inner fire, hoping it will reemerge and reignite. I mean, where did the fire go? Why did it go? Surely it will return on its own. After all, our hearts beat without us having to do anything. Our lungs fill with air, and we're always in the constant rhythm of inhaling and exhaling, and many other bodily functions just, take over. They're involuntary and automatic. They just do their thing, and we accept it as normal, expecting them to keep going as they always have, with little or no conscious effort on our part. But our inner fire is different. It is of a spiritual nature, not physical. It has to be consciously fed, nurtured, and stoked in order to stay alive. And each of us is responsible for taking that on. While we're waiting for that fire to return and restart, we may start thinking of how things used to be and get into conversations that start off like, I remember when, and it used to be. This is not the time to be remembering when it used to be. That may be good for writing short stories, but not for strengthening our spirituality and stoking our fire. We have to step out of the past and stay in the now. We have to take action now and abandon the waiting game. How do we keep a fire burning? How do we stoke the fire? What's needed? First of all, fire begets fire. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Unplug from all of the electronic input. Turn to nature. Walk through the grass barefoot, watch a sunrise or sunset, or both. Listen to soothing music. Observe wonderful art. Better yet, try your hand at creating something artistic. Be adventurous. Try something new. Meet someone new. There are so many people whose fires are burning brightly. They could be sitting like right next to you. Or living in your neighborhood. So a few weeks back, during my morning walk, I met a gentleman that was milling about in front of his home. He apologized to me because his sidewalk was taped off. New concrete had been poured. We struck up a conversation. His name is Jim Lardy, Lardie. And if you Google him, you will find that he is responsible for starting a national child advocacy movement. I mean, like, on my morning walk, I meet this guy. Now, not only that, the more we talked, I was wondering if there was something in our conversation that I could use for my talk. I mentioned the talk to him and its theme, and he responded immediately that people are what stoke our fire. Now, by the way, I happened to tell him that I sing. Turns out he sings also. And about 2 times out of the month, he sings at the Jennings Care Center in Garfield Heights, close to Cleveland. So guess who was invited to join him and the musicians? So this encounter gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, "Come on, baby, light my fire." So if you happen to have joined me on that spiritual merry-go-round that I spoke of earlier, hold on, because we are about to speed up. And with every revolution, we'll pass through a spiritual dimension designed to increase the heat within, magnify that inner flame, and reestablish passion and joy in our lives. With each revel, we'll have a divine revelation. Here are the keys to stoking our inner fire. Desire, the seed of anything and everything that we want to manifest. Faith, that which underscores the divine power from which springs life and possibility, even as small as a mustard seed. Love, commitment to the well-being of yourself and others, including health, happiness, prosperity, beauty, and general welfare. Friendships and relationships are significant. Courage, strength in the face of fear, pain, discomfort, and grief. Strength to remove ourselves from worldly insulation. Courage springs from the intelligence of the beating heart and supports responsibility and consistency. Courage is what we need as we are being tested so that we don't give up. Play, the state of enjoyment, giving seriousness a break. We can sing, dance, have fun, and joyfully express with our minds and bodies. Laughter, God's voice expressing through you, the universal language of joy. And appreciation, giving and receiving in gratitude, embracing forgiveness, a state of divine surrender. So let us now commit to stoking our fire with our words, thoughts, actions, and our very being. This world can be cold and bitter. Feels like we're in the dead of winter, waiting on something better. But am I really gonna hide forever? Over and over again, I hear that voice in my head. Let your light shine, let your light shine for all to see. Start a fire in my soul, fan the flame and make it grow. So there's no doubt or denying. Let it burn so brightly that everyone around can see the divine within me. Start a fire in me. You only need a spark to start a whole blaze. It only takes a little faith. Let it start right here in this sanctuary, and these old walls will never be the same. Over and make it grow. So there's no doubt or denying. Let it burn so brightly so everyone around can see the divine within me. Start a fire. There is a fire, there is a flame, there is a light on the darkest day. We have the hope, this we claim. We carry the news in Spirit's name. Spirit brings the flame. Start a fire in my soul, fan the flame and make it grow. So there's no doubt or denying. Let it burn so brightly that everyone around can see the divine within me. Start a fire in me. There is a light on the darkest day. We have the hope, we have the flame that Spirit brings the flame. Spirit brings the flame. So I thank you for your attention, and I hope you got something out of it. I've done a few talks, and what I find is that whatever I need is what I speak about, and I learn about, and I find that sometimes it helps others as well. So this is our time of meditation.
We have a meditation song.
Okay. So this is an invitation for us to come together in a powerful group meditation. Prepare to turn within and connect with that divine spirit that lives in the hearts and souls of each one. Prepare your body. Feet flat on the floor, shoulders relaxed. Hands resting comfortably in your lap. Tensions released from the face, neck, and jaw. Engage in a pattern of calm, deep, rhythmic breathing. Prepare your mind. Be here in this beautiful sanctuary. Embrace the peace and love that surround you. Receive the gratitude being offered for your loving presence. There is a spirit divine that is present among us. It knows each one by name. It serves us in our time of joy and sorrow. It carries us through the darkness into the light. It stands with us wherever we are, in whatever we do. When we give it welcome, it warms our hearts and souls. And always it does as we desire and command to fulfill our spiritual mandate. This spiritual presence epitomizes our power to be and our power to choose. It shall not compel you to choose other than for your own sake and the sake of your world. It stands ready and is gratified when it can enfold you in love, grace you with peace, shower you with prosperity as you desire, as you command, as your spiritual nature calls forth. See this light being in your presence, for you are not alone. You are never alone. Go deep into the recesses of your being and allow yourself to be in the presence of your divine light. Acknowledge it. Become acquainted with it. Embrace it. The living spiritual presence has led you here and has led you there. This is your personal sanctuary. You may visit it at any time, in times of need as well as times of joy. Be there now as you sit in the silence. You may slowly return to this space. Feel the divine spirit holding you, infusing you. You have been transformed, and you may go to that place of transformation anytime you wish.